Good morning, and thank you for joining me again for 5 Good Minutes with the Word. This is Barry Bryson, and today we're going to talk about the book of Revelation. We spent the last 2 days introducing the book, so I hope that you'll remember that we're talking about apocalyptic literature when we talk about the book of Revelation, and that we're talking about a historical moment in the history of the church in which Christians find themselves persecuted not only by the empire but also by local government, and oftentimes because they would not participate in the worship of the emperor. Not that anyone believed the emperor was a god, but the emperor seemed to insist to be worshipped that way, and Christians would not. Let's talk about the book itself. Not forget that we said everything that we need to know to start is there in the very first verse of this book. This is an apocalypse. This was given by God through Jesus to an angel who shared it with John, and that this is about the things that are shortly to take place. This book is about things that will happen in the lives of the readers, their children, and their grandchildren. This is a book about the fall of Rome, and then also at the end about the second coming of Jesus Christ. That should not surprise us that the prophets of the Old Testament or the writers of the New Testament who write apocalyptic look out as far as they can see and tell us what they see and then write about the end of time. That's all they know. For instance, when Isaiah wrote his book, he looked as far as he could see into the future, which was the coming of the Messiah. And then he wrote about the end of time with nothing in the interim. We cannot look at Revelation as an unfolding of history from his day until ours and into the future until the second coming of Jesus Christ. That's not what this is. Okay? John is writing from the island of Patmos. He's evidently a quarry slave. That's what this island is. It's off the coast of Turkey, very near to the people that he's writing to in the Roman province of Asia. And while he is in the Spirit on the Lord's day, he tells us he has this vision, and then he's relaying that vision about the things that will shortly come to pass. Since he's writing from jail, it should not surprise us that he uses Old Testament apocalyptic, something that Christians would be familiar with, but that his Roman overlords would not. And so it would not be redacted or anything as he's writing this to them. The book of Revelation begins with the vision of Jesus and the body of Jesus. Jesus still has a body. We talked about that, Colossians chapter 2, verse 9. It's written to the 7 churches of Asia, chapters 2 and 3. There are more than 7 churches of Asia that we know of from the New Testament. Colossae itself is in Asia. Hierapolis is in Asia. But these 7 congregations, some of them whom we know fairly well, are on a circular mail route in the Lycus Valley, and you can trace, almost geographically one by one, them receiving this letter. So we have in chapters 2 and 3 the letters to the 7 churches of Asia. These are direct letters sent from Jesus about how they're doing. Numbers 1 and 7 are not doing very well at all. Numbers 2 and 6 are doing very well, and the 3 in the middle are sort of middling. But they need to suck it up and get ready for the coming persecution. It's bad now, but it's going to get worse. In chapters 4 and 5, we are taken into the throne room of God, and language fails really to describe. John is reduced to using shapes and colors to try to tell us what he sees. To me, chapters 4 and 5 are the best part of the book. It's so thrilling to read these 2 chapters and to hear all creation praise God at the end of chapter 5. Then beginning with chapter 6, we have what most people think of when they think of the book of Revelation, which is the unfolding of the history that he's going to be talking about. And this book is based upon the number 7. There are 7 churches of Asia, and we have 4 sevens that will unfold history. There are 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 figures, and 7 bowls of wrath through chapter 6 through chapter 16. And the 7th seal is the 7 trumpets, and the 7th trumpet is the 7 figures, and the last figure is the 7 bowls of wrath. And so we're not sure whether these are communicating a linear or a cyclical history, but they're giving the history of the Roman Empire until it falls, because the fall of Babylon is what is talked about. Babylon is Rome. Already in the New Testament, we identify Babylon with Rome. at the end of First Peter. He describes Rome as Babylon. The fall of Rome, which is going to bring in the Dark Ages, and people around the world are going to lament because of the loss of commerce and the loss of due process and law and order. That's all there lamented in chapter 17, 18, 19. And then we have a vision of the end of time, chapters 20 through 22. I wish I had more time to talk about this book. The message of this book is we win. People not appearing in this book are the Antichrist. There is no Antichrist. There are many Antichrists. Anyone who teaches a falsehood about Jesus is an Antichrist. Hitler, Stalin, Al Qaeda, and the deep state don't appear either. And there's no Battle of Armageddon. But we are reminded that God's people will survive. Remember that when you read this book, and thank you for joining me for 5 Good Minutes.